Okay, I've got my binary converter class, my binary number class done. It has a convert to decimal, it has a toString method. Now what I want to do is create a window so it looks like what I have in my image. It's going to create a J-frame with a panel and then a couple of components on it. We'll add an action listener, and the action listener will basically run this code here. Okay, so here we go. We need to import a few libraries to create the windows. Import javax.swing.star-semicolon. Okay, this one is for all the Windows components. This one is for the events, and I believe this is also for some of the events for the listeners that go along with the events. Okay, we need to have a constructor for our binary converter class, because what the constructor does is sets up any defaults, right? Well, in this program, that's all we're doing is setting up a bunch of default values to create a window. So here we're going to say public, and it has to be the same name as the class. If you feel like copying and pasting, you can, because it can't be changed whatsoever. There's my constructor. And all this does is sets up the window. Now, in order to set up my window, I'm going to make my binary converter become a container of the window. So I'm going to say extends JPanel. So JPanel is just a container. We used the JPanel to paint graphics on the screen. We can now use it to store all of our components. Okay, here's our binary converter. Now we're going to create our J-frame. Our J-frame, remember, is just our window. Now if we give the window a formal parameter of some text, it will show up as the title bar in our window. So I'm going to say binary number converter. Okay, we do want to set our default close operation, just like we did in the last one. I can't spell default. AULT, close operation. Okay, what this line of code does is it specifies to exit the program when the window closes. By default, that is not the case. It just closes the window. It doesn't exit the program, and this will tell it to exit the program when the window closes. Okay, I'm going to leave some space because we want to put our Windows components here. And we want to do that before we show the window, otherwise it gives us some glitchy windows. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our J-frame to the window. We have our, our J-panel. Here our current object is the J-panel. So we're going to add the current object, and the keyword to add the current object is the word this. So we'll add our container to our window. We can set the size of our window, and then the container should by default fill up all of that space that we set the window to. Let's go, I'm going to just take a quick peek at our image that we created. Whoa, that was not a quick peek. There we go. Our window only goes to this point and this point, so we could make it like 400 by 200 pixels, and that should work. So here I'm going to say 400 by 200. We could make that bigger if we need. Okay, at this point our window should work and we should be able to run it. And it does nothing. Where is the window? What am I forgetting? Set size, I add the window, window.setVisible, operation complete. I know what I'm forgetting. I have never instantiated my object. Oh, good. All right, so here, we can do this one of two ways. The way you are familiar with is just to instantiate the object, but we're instantiating the object inside of the object itself, which is okay. Binary converter B equals new binary converter. So what that will do is that will run the constructor right here. And then as soon as this exits, the program will terminate. Okay, now since we're never actually using this B from here on out, we can actually just instantiate the object without declaring it like that. So both of these ways will work. So at this point, I should be able to run my program. It will come up. It will show me my cute little window with nothing on it. That's okay. Okay, so let's go on. Let's put on our label and our button and our, so what do we need? 2 labels and 1 button and a text box. And I have a little comment where we're putting those. So I'm going to come in here. So we need a J label. Let's call this LBL prompt. And that's going to prompt the user to enter in the number in binary. Equals new J label. So the text for it is what shows up on the label by default. We could leave it blank and then you'd have a blank label, but we want to put in enter the number in binary. So that's going to be this label right here. Now I need this label right here, so I'm going to do the same thing. J label, LBL, what's this going to be? This is going to be the number in decimal. And we'll just have it say the decimal number is 0, because when they start the program, that's the default text. We'll change the text later on. Okay, next we need the text field, JText field, F-I-E-L-D, is that right? Yeah. And if you'll notice, I'm doing a 3-letter prefix on each of my variables. That way I don't get confused on which one's which. So my text field, I'm going to put TXT on, and this is going to be where they enter in the number in binary. So I'm going to call this TXT binary. And by default, we can give them some values. If the binary number is 0, if the decimal number is 0, we'll give them 0 as the binary number as well. And that's just the default text that will show up. Now we need a button. A button is called a J button. Let's call this is going to convert to decimal. So I'm going to call it button to decimal. New J button. And my button is going to be, say, I don't know, convert decimal. What should we make it say? To decimal. Okay, so there's all of our four components. At this point, it's not going to show up because we've only declared them. We haven't placed them on our window. Okay, before we place them on our window, we need to set the X, Y, width, and height of each of them. So here I'm going to say a little comment that says set positions of components. And all that's going to do is set the position of each of these. So I'll say LBL prompt dot set bounds. And once again, it is X, Y, width, height. So if we look at my little graph that I've put out, this about 20, 40, 20, 40, 40, 40, that's my upper left corner, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, about 200 wide. So I'm going to do, what did I say? Did I say 40, 40? I can't remember now. I wish you could tell me right now. Yeah, 10, 20, 30, yeah, 40, 40. So I'm going to go 40, comma, 40. The width was 200, the height was about 30. There we go. That will set the prompt up for the label. Now we'll do the text box. TXT binary dot set bounds. Okay, take a look at the image. I've got, this is 200, 20, 40. That's about 250 over. So here I'm going to put 250, and it's still 40 pixels down. The width is how, I don't know, what was the width? 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's only 100 wide. So we'll put 100 wide and it'll still be 30 tall. Now I'm going to do the label decimal. Oh, I can't remember. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 80? 80 down, 30 high. So 80 down, that's 80 down. It's 40 over. 40 over, 80 down. So we probably want to do these two added together because if we look at the label, it expands both of those. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, oh, these are two each. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24, 26, 28, 30. I'm just going to say 300. And then 30 high. Okay, last one. BTN2 decimal. Dot set bounds. Let's take a look at the image again. So I'm going about, oh, I don't know. This is somewhere 450 over? No, 250 over. How far down was that? That was about 120. 120 down. The width, I'm just going to say about, what is it, 100? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, about 100. And the height is still 30. Okay, now all of my positions are there, but they're still not on the window. I got to add them to my J panel, my custom J panel. All I have to do is say add, and then add each of the components. LVL prompt, I want to add, and it doesn't matter the order that you add them, they will always show up in these positions. Okay, let's test this out, see if I misspelled anything. Oh, so far it's working. Nice. Okay, here's what it currently looks like. I am forgetting something. Okay, our positions aren't working because I forgot one key thing. If you forget this, it just automatically does it like in this HTML format that puts them on in the order that you add them. We have to set that we want no layout. So I'm going to come up right before I add them and I'm going to set layout to null. And all that does is it says use these values instead of just adding them on in the order that they were added. Oh, this should look better. There it is. Oh, that's not too shabby. So now I have my binary number. It has the text. Hit 2 decimal, nothing happens yet. Okay, so catch us in the next video and we'll create the event for the button and get the program working.